Have you ever met the connector? Well, he ponders, he helps, he creates, he writes, he speaks. He basically connects people and brings them together. I speak about Paul Solano of PS and All Marketing Group. At psandallmarketinggroup.com, you will receive an assembled group of Paul's contacts and connections that cross into many sectors of life. Please contact Paul Solano at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com if you are in the market for a wide array of services. Again, please contact the connector, Paul Solano, at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com with any questions. And now, here's Paul Solano, the host of Paul Ponders.
Welcome to #Paul Ponders. I've really enjoyed bringing you fun, informed, intriguing, and pondering podcasts. Many thanks to #PodPro Entertainment. Today's collaborating sponsor, Scott Albertson of #Project142.org, Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS number 410564, and Remax Renaissance Realty of Reading. Thanks for listening, rating, reviewing, and subscribing. Let Paul Ponders begin. Greetings, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well today. Before I go on and introduce my guests for this illustrious podcast, I just want to let you know that I am wearing my 95.9 FM WATD shirt from Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation, where they have fences for their kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors. Mike Payne's company in Saugus is just a wonderful operation, and it's really great to have Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation as my presenting sponsor on WATD on Saturdays from 12:08 to 1 p.m. So please tune in on that. But most importantly, with us is my longtime friend, Joe Pianadosi, and his son, Jared. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Paul, for having us. How are you today?
I'm doing well, doing very well. And Jared, welcome.
Great to be here, Paul. Great to see you.
It's great to have you on. It's great to see you as well. And Joe Pianadosi, we have known each other since the early 1980s at our days at Boston College, correct?
Well, yeah, we took a class or two together. I specifically remember one class. I think it was a psychology, a sociology class at night in a lecture hall, I do remember.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And little did we know that we would be working together in later years on the Malden Chamber of Commerce Board, in the Malden community, working on so many fundraisers and all. But it really is a pleasure to have you on. And it is not often that I could actually say that I have a third generation and a fourth generation on the same podcast. So for our listeners in Paul Ponders land and around the world, around the nation, Pianadosi Baking Company, located in Malden, Massachusetts, is an institution. So if you want to let our listeners know about Pianadosi Baking Company and about yourself and Jared, take it away, Mr. Joe.
Okay, so, my grandfather, Salvatore, came to this country from Avellino, Italy in 1916, which is 110 years now. He started a bread delivery service, actually. He lived in Everett and realized the people in Everett didn't have bread. So he bought a horse and wagon. He couldn't afford to buy a healthy horse, so he bought a blind horse. It was less money, cheaper. And he would get up every day, and he would take this horse and wagon from Everett to the North End and buy bread and some other food staples and bring it to Everett and deliver house to house. And did that for a couple of years. And while his trips to into the North End, he met my grandmother, who was born in the North End of Italian descent. And they dated and got married. And she was really, I would call her a pioneer career woman. She was, I always would say she was the brains, he was the brawn. And they got married. He took her to Everett. They lived in Everett. And she said, it would make more money if we made the bread ourselves. So at the time, he didn't know how to make bread. He hired a father and his two sons, from the North End, brought them to bakery that he built in Everett, and they produced bread. He still delivered. He was nicknamed the Midnight Baker because he would deliver up until midnight, delivering bread house to house, door to door with this blind horse. And a couple of years into it, old man Salamini, as my grandfather called him, I'm sure he was younger than my grandfather, came to my grandfather and said, my boys, they're crazy. They don't like living here in the country. Everett was the country compared to Boston. He said they want to go back to the city, and they're even crazier. They don't want to bake bread anymore. They don't want to be bakers. They want to open up a restaurant. So he said, unfortunately, we're going to have to part ways. And they did on great terms. My grandfather then was forced to learn how to make bread and run a bakery. He had 3 young boys, one of which was my dad. I think they were maybe 8, 9, and 10, or 8, 10, and 11, all about a year and a half apart. And they would work before school, after school, weekends, nights, vacations. And my grandfather still went out and delivered as they made bread during the day and into the night. And my grandmother tended the business end of the company and the cash register. And it just grew from there. And then they outgrew the original bakery in Everett. They had to build a bigger bakery. Urban renewal came. It was, I guess, Santilli Circle is where the second bakery was. And urban renewal came, and they had to move to a different location, a new facility in 1950s on Main Street in Everett. And they introduced pastry, and they had a huge pastry business. It would rival today Mike's Pastry. I think we had a 45-foot pastry counter. My mother actually ran the showroom, and I think she had 18, as she called them, sales girls. I don't think that term was allowed today, but pastry was our mainstay, and bread was important, but we were known for pastry. And late 60s, my father, who basically spearheaded the bread, tried to convince the family that, hey, you know what? I think bread is the way to go. It's easier to make. It's more profitable. And he convinced the family. So on Valentine's Day, 1970, they stopped pastry, went 100% bread. And did bread for about 5 years in Everett. They outgrew that facility and decided to move to the city of Malden, where we're located now. So in 1976, 50 years now, we moved to Malden. And the plant on Commercial Street has been there 50 years. My grandfather's long since passed, and my father and 2 uncles ran the company, and they retired several years ago. They've all passed now as well. And now today the owners are myself, my 2 cousins, 2 brothers, Tom and Bob. You know them well, Paul.
Yes, I do.
And together we have 4 sons. So we're all owners right now. So the 3rd and 4th generation. Ironically, okay, this is a funny story. My grandparents had 6 girls and 6 boys. My grandmother was a true businesswoman, unheard of back in the day. And she didn't want to be upstaged. She wanted to be the only woman that walked into a meeting. So she passed a rule, a law, if you will, in our family that no females could join the business. People don't believe this because she was the matriarch. She wanted to be sitting at the head of the table in her business suit back in the day. And my mother worked there for a year. She was the secretary / bookkeeper, and she ran the showroom for the pastry. But other than that, there were no females allowed in the company. So ironically, the 3rd generation, there were 6 grandchildren, and 6 boys, 6 girls, 6 grandsons, 6 granddaughters. Only the grandsons were allowed into the business. It made it a lot easier to run the company with, only 6 instead of 12. And over the years, some have decided to move on. So it left us, the 3rd generation, there's 3 of us, Tom, Bob, and myself. We get along very well. It's a good thing. We've kind of divided up the company. So Tom really handles the administrative part of the business. Bob really was operations, and I was sales marketing. So together we helped the company grow, and here we are 110 years later, and we produce still in Malden, and we ship nationally frozen product throughout the country. And we do supermarkets up and down the East Coast, but we're predominantly restaurants, stadiums, ballparks, caterers, universities. But supermarkets, we really started going full force during COVID when a lot of restaurants were shuttered. And that's helped us quite a bit. So now we're in supermarkets where we weren't really before, on a limited basis. Now we're in supermarkets. So long story, sorry to go on.
No, it's really quite the story. It's really quite the American dream. It's quite the great success story and all. And there is an adage about generational type businesses, and usually a business will in fact stop at the third generation. But this has gone on to the fourth generation. So, Jared, welcome again. And also, what is your role in the Pianadosi Baking Company right now?
My official title is media marketing manager, I guess now. So it's primarily handling all of marketing for the company. So that's our social media pages. That's all sort of advertising, whether that's TV, um, different charity events we do, different sponsorship events we handle. So, primarily that. It's also, marketing and sales really bleed together as well. So, it's also connecting with longtime customers. There's a great sort of I'll call them genre of customer that have been using us for many, many years. And we have a person on our sales team that they say they bleed Pianadosi, that they would never, in no matter what happens, they would never use a different bread company. Um, so there are quite a few of these accounts, these customers, these shops that exist out there. So it's a lot of that is developing these relationships, into the next generation. Because really, and I would say beyond all that, what my primary job is I'm still trying to learn. You know, um, I'm coming on. Well, no, I'm beyond 3 years now, full time. Um, Part time, I think it's maybe part time, like 15, something like that. Um, but I think there's still so much for myself to learn. There's still so much for myself and my cousins in the fourth generation for us to learn. So I'm still in that learning period of just trying to understand different aspects of the business, because at the end of the day it helps you become a better salesperson, a better marketer, once you really know the product that you are selling or marketing. So it's something that I really like about my job, and it's something that, I know my dad shares of me is, every day is a little different. Sometimes every day is a lot different. Um, but, whether it's going to a charity breakfast in Boston, whether it's driving up to a longtime customer in Beverly and having lunch with them for like an hour or two, whether it's doing a food show in Hartford, Connecticut. You know, there's a lot of different ways of just getting our name out there. Um, and I'm still sort of in a position where I'm just trying to immerse myself in as many different, you know, areas and opportunities as possible for both myself and for the company.
That really sums it up, and that is really what Piandosi Baking Company is all about. And when you look through the history and you look at the products and all, there are other bread companies out there. Then there's Piandosi Baking Company in a league of its own and all, and that's because of the quality of the products and all. So in this world where so many people are health conscious, what do you, Joe? What are you looking at as far as a healthy type of bread or roll?
Well, what's funny over the years, there was the no carb craze, there was the gluten-free craze. What we found, it really never hurt our business. People that want bread are going to eat bread. And, a lot of people felt back when people were off carbs, it was almost like, the thing to do. And all gluten-free now, there are people that are celiacs that are allergic to gluten and they can't eat it. But other people felt it was healthier. Um, but I don't know about you, but it's hard to have a hamburger or a sub without having it on a roll. Um, so, I mean, we have some wheat products and some rye products. I mean, our product is pretty much natural. I mean, we have all natural ingredients for the most part. I mean, there's no additives. There's no fake preservatives or anything on our bread. And it's healthy for you. It's not bad. I mean, what you put in it or what you put on it, that's a whole other issue. But we've been very fortunate. All these crazes. I remember when the low carb thing came, the low carb diet came out, the Atkins diet, and all that. People were calling me saying, "Oh my God, it's going to kill your company. It's going to kill your business." And fortunately, we were lucky. It really hasn't impacted us at all. And you got your people that stay away, or will be off carbs for a while for dieting purposes or whatever. But we just offer good quality, as you mentioned, product, and it really good for you.
Absolutely. Well, when I go in there for Pearl Street Station Restaurant, when I get our bread every day, I get the rolls and I order through the app and it's really great. And I see so many items. Okay. I see the burger rolls, I see the sandwich rolls, I see the subs, the baguettes. What else do you have?
My father would be rolling over in his grave because when we first moved to Malden, I think we made 5 items. And it was a lot easier to run the company and probably more profitable back in the day with fewer things to deal with. But I would say now we have about 200, maybe 250 SKUs. And, but there's different variations of basically, we make all kinds of sandwich breads and rolls and, for burgers or subs or, we do baguettes and some loaves. We don't get into pastries anymore. It's all bread. And we try to come up with new items. And, we have a couple new items maybe this year that we're pushing. We have a new black and white seed roll. It's black and white sesame seed roll, really sharp looking roll. You should try something. We'll get you some samples, Paul.
There we go.
And then we do a cranberry raisin roll that's kind of nice. We do a yeast
That
roll.
is awesome.
We have an onion roll that's really
An
nice.
onion roll. Thank you, Jared.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Marketing. Yeah, that's a great item. And we do we're doing a panini now. We're doing, every year we have an R&D team. We try to come up with some new items. And it's fun. And, Jared underestimates himself. He really does a lot. And I didn't think he was going to come into the business. He went to school in New York, went to Fordham University. He majored in English undergrad, and then he went to grad school at Fordham in media. And he actually interned live with, it was the time, Kelly and Ryan.
Oh, wow.
And he was at ABC and did a great job there and got the media bug when he did it. And, he was going to stay in New York. It was actually Dominic Savino, our general sales manager, director of sales now, who lured Jared to the company after graduation. And lucky, I'm so grateful, happy to have him there with us, and he's doing a great job. I do a radio show on 3 iHeart stations, WRKO in Boston, WTAG AM and FM in Worcester. And Jared is my producer. Jared does a great job lining up guests and booking them and being there in studio. You of course been a guest on the show, Paul, and
I have.
you've seen Jared in action. And I have Scott Whitley, who produces the show and does all the technical part of it. But Jared is a vital part of that show, and he also is on air with me. He wraps up the show every episode with me the last few minutes, and he's come a long way, and I'm honored and privileged to be working with my son every day. Which is, I got to work with my dad and my grandfather. And it's truly a privilege and a special thing to work with my son every day.
Without a doubt, and congratulations on all these great accomplishments and these special moments, because that's really what it's all about and all. And Joe, as we start to wind down, I know we've worked on many projects. We've worked on fundraisers for the Joey Fund. We've worked on other fundraisers with some dear friends with the Wong family, with the O'Donnell family. And it's really all about giving back to the community. And you've also worked with organizations such as the Mass Restaurant Association, the National Restaurant Association. You've taken on leadership roles in those organizations and all. And you've been with so many different types of guests, celebrities, and all. And I know that you were really great friends with Regis Philbin.
Yes, he was a close friend, and he's the one actually that got Jared the job at Live, his old show. And Regis was a great guy. He was a mentor. I was blessed to be called his friend. I got to travel with him. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But he was so good, and I think of him daily. He was just and I, being a talk show host on the radio, I think I learned from him, and he actually would give me pointers. He was a frequent guest on my show, And what you saw on television was what he was. He was so down to earth. Jared said something early on. He was my mentor, my hero. And Jared was just a young kid, and Jared said, "Dad, how special is it to get to know your mentor, your hero, someone you look up to, and they're as good as you perceive them to be." I'm paraphrasing his words in real life, and he was. He was just salt of the earth, just the most giving person and nice to everybody. And I've had a lot of good people in my life that I consider mentors or have guided me, but he certainly was tops.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. And also, too, we share some mutual friends in the Epicurean Club of Boston.
Sure. Yeah, we've been longtime members, and Jared is very active and involved. He just did was a burger, was it a burger challenge, Jared? A
It was a
burger
slider
challenge?
challenge at Blackstone Valley Tech in Upton. So they Epicurean Club's great because they do a lot of work with culinary students. So we're very proud to donate product to different culinary challenges and different events they put on for them.
It's great helping students, the hospitality industry is a vital part of this country, and when you see young kids, you're able to guide them, teach them, mentor them, and have them stay in business. More people start out in the food business than any other career, and get your first jobs. If someone may be a busser or a dishwasher in a restaurant, or a delivery person, or a server. And I mean, so many people stay in it. The industry always says, "Where else can you go from the kitchen to the boardroom?" I mean, or on. I mean, so many people started as dishwashers, and they become CEOs of major restaurant chains or executive chefs, or just running a restaurant. So or a pizza place or a sandwich place. I mean, it's a great business, great industry. It's hard, it's a lot of work, but it pays off in the end. And once you get snake bit, is the term we like to use. It's hard to leave. And of course, you're in the business. I never thought you'd be in the restaurant business. And how long you been at Pearl Street now?
Well, I'm in my, let me see, 10th year as general manager, and I've been part of Pearl Street about 27 years, 17 years previous as a consultant with our dear friend Alan, who passed away, Alan Robot, who passed away on July 4th last year. And now his wife, Michelle, owns the restaurant. But really, I never thought that I would be where I would be. And, I had my mentor in Mike Sharon. And Mike Sharon, our dear friend Mike Sharon, who taught me so much about hospitality, about the guests, and that's really what it's all about. And it's just so important. I really can't stress it enough. And Jared, we've talked about this at Malden Chamber of Commerce meetings about the guests, about the relationships. Joe, we've talked about it through the years. And really, there is a great connectiveness, I believe,
Sure, there really is.
in what we need to do. So, Jared, as we start to wind down, besides Breaking Bread with Joe Panadosi, Paul Ponders, Wicked Bites, and all, what other social media platform do you think is most popular? Where is the industry going? TikTok, or what's out there?
We've explored TikTok a little bit. We find that Instagram is been a very useful tool in not only promoting our own product, but also kind of seeing what else is out there in terms of industry trends. So, Instagram is great because it's a great visual medium. Facebook is still really popular for us, especially, a lot of our customers, they've been using us for so long. They frequent Facebook and sort of see where we are, where our updates are, what we're currently doing as a company. We also do a lot with Dining Playbook, which is a show hosted by Billy Costa and Jenny Johnson. So on Nessun. So we do quite a bit with them there. And, Billy is a dear friend of my dad's. So it's always a lot of fun when they get together. And they actually they recently did a new commercial, the two of them. So watch Nessun, stay tuned for that coming up soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jared, for being on. And Joe, I want to thank you for being on. And do you have any final words as to what our listeners in Paul Ponders land should be looking at for Panadosi's, how to contact you, get a tour of the bakery, whatever, or maybe even attend a 110th birthday party if you're going to have one this year?
Well, we have a few events lined up this year.
Nice.
And what we're doing, and we have a new role that we're going to be promoting, and just stay tuned to all our social media. I want to thank you, Paul, for having us on the show, but also thank you for buying our bread at Pearl Street. I think Alan Robot, since he opened his doors, bought our bread.
40 years, 40 years.
Buying a lot. And like you said, every day, Alan used to come in and buy the bread. You're doing it now. We
Yes.
appreciate it greatly. We appreciate all the, it's been nice to be a part of the community of Malden and beyond. And it's funny, Breaking Bread was the name of my radio show. And Breaking Bread is so important. And I love to be able to talk and share a meal and break bread and talk with people and reach out to people. And I think that's what bread does. And bread's the staff of life. And it just has great meaning and deep meaning and to so many people. So we appreciate that. Jared can give everybody our website and our address, phone numbers, all that stuff, Jared.
Yep. So visit us on piantadosi.com. You can reach out, see our product list as well. And please follow us on Facebook, Piantadosi Baking Company, and also follow Breaking Bread with Joe Piantadosi on Facebook, and also follow Piantadosi Baking Company on Instagram as well. That's PIANTEDOSI, just FYI.
We're 240 Commercial Street, Malden. Our number is 781-321-3400. And Jared is someone, if someone wants to reach out, they can reach out to Jared, call the company, or do it through the website. Reach out to Jared, and we do tours for young students. Jared just hosted what school was that?
Lowell Tech, Greater Lowell Regional Tech High School. So, yeah, we love getting tours, especially to students. So, any educators, please feel free to reach out on our socials or through our website.
And if you're a restaurant and you don't know about our product and you want to start using our bread, reach out. We're happy to send you some samples, and hopefully you become a loyal customer like Paul, like you are.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, again, I want to thank you for being on, and I second those statements for anyone out there in the restaurant world. If you're looking to, in fact, take on a new product or just look at the role that you're serving, definitely check out Piantadosi Baking Company in Malden. So, gentlemen, again, I thank you, and this has been an absolute honor and pleasure to have third and fourth generation owners on the Paul Ponders podcast. And with that, I say #Indeed. I trust that you have enjoyed #Paul Ponders. Again, my name is Paul Solano of PS&All Marketing Group, and I may be reached via email at paul@paulponders.com to do some more pondering. Many thanks to my longtime collaborative friend and associate, Chalonzo Amos of Pod Pro Entertainment, in bringing you our fun, exciting, informative podcasts. You rock, Techie Chalonzo. With PS&All Marketing Group, I created a side gig to connect you and get things done. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me at paul@paulponders.com with any questions. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Paul Ponders. Follow us on Twitter at Paul Ponders Pod. Follow us on Instagram at Paul Ponders Podcast. Thank you again for listening to #Paul Ponders, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our website, paulponders.com, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment, #Paul Ponders lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. #the new radio. Until we meet again, my friend, stay well. #Indeed.